Welcome back. It's almost inevitable. If you have debt and you don't keep paying for it, you'll have to deal with the scary debt collectors. Avoiding them is the worst thing you could do. Here to talk about how to deal with your debt is budget advisor Peg Upfold. Hi Peg, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Now, why are people so scared of debt collectors?
Because they are not in control. They may be ashamed of feeling a sense of shame because they've gone and got debt and now they can't pay for it, and because somebody is perhaps pointing out what you've done wrong. Also, they don't quite know what's going to happen to them. That's the scary bit.
Why is it so important that people actually take control of their debt?
When you are in control, you decide what's going to happen. So if you set the boundaries of when you're going to get back to the debt collector and how much you can offer, it's far easier than them telling you what's going to happen, because then it becomes scary.
So how do you set up payment plans to suit your budget?
You would do your budget, which is income and expenses, whichever way you look at it. You can put down your income and then add up all the expenses you have. Make provision for things like repairs and maintenance on your motor car and the WAF and the rego, because they're going to happen, just the same as you make provision for your rates. And once you've put down your daily living expenses, then if you have a debt that you are not servicing, you would use the balance of what you've got left over. But remember, if you don't have a balance, you may need to go without your pocket money because the debt needs to be paid somewhere along the line.
So you have to be quite detailed in what you put in your expenses, like right down to, hey, if my car needs new tyres, we need to put that in there. And
that's correct. You'd put in all sorts of things like that. In our budgets, we would even allow for people to have a gift for Christmas, because that's important. Each person has a different need, a different thing that's very, very important to them. And that's okay. That's what makes us unique. We are actually people, so we all have different needs.
Now, do you recommend keeping your money in the bank, or actually having little tins around the house going, that's my car budget, that's my clothing budget?
Whichever would suit you, but we would prefer people to, depending on how strong-willed you are, we would prefer people to leave their money in the bank. There is one bank that has this available for their clients, but I'm sure other banks would come to the party if you went and saw your money manager at the bank. And that is to have an account where your money goes in first, all your APs that you've set up or any savings comes out into that account, and then the amount for your petrol and your daily living, like buying your groceries, giving the kids some pocket money, goes there, and that's the amount of money you draw on.
Why is it so important to stick to paying your bills on time?
Well, you avoid the extra costs. You can land, if it goes to a debt collecting agent, you get extra costs. But apart from which, if you pay regularly, your creditor is more inclined to say to you, OK, we'll give you an extension this time on your debt because you are a good payer, you've got a good payment record. Yep, we'll give you some time and you can catch up.
What amount of your monthly budget should go towards paying your debt?
There's no actual magical figure. I know some of the banks work on when you go for a loan, some of them will say 5%. You've got to have 5% to repay that loan. But very often people have got more debt on debt, and the figure that they should have to service that debt they don't have because it just isn't there.
Is it better to pay your debt off weekly or monthly, or what do you suggest?
If you're paying APs weekly is not a good idea because you're going to have a bank cost all the time, and that's something you've got to look at as well. If you're going to pay monthly, that's fine. Pay it monthly, but leave the money in the bank, just like you would pay your power. If you're getting weekly pay, work a budget for your weekly money, but leave the rest of the money in the bank.
Can a collection agency actually add interest if you stop paying?
Collection agents don't actually add interest. They add fees. and that can be anything from 18% to 39%. It is legal. That is the fee that they can ask if they're going to collect. Most firms will have a notice up somewhere in the firm if they needs to retrieve or get the money back. The cost will be on the person that's either giving them the cheque or making the payment. If they don't, you will get a funny little letter from some of the collection agents which says optional $10. Optional $10 means we can't charge you anything on this account, please give us a donation, and you don't have to pay it.
Why do they have that on there? That's quite unusual, isn't it?
That is because they, legally, that particular debt they're collecting, there is no notice up. No one has said, if we need to get this money back through a collection agent or go to further steps to get the money, you will pay.
What if you can't keep up with your debt repayment plan?
You need to contact whoever you've got the debt with and explain to them what's happening. I would then advise you to go and get either a budget advisor or someone who can speak on your behalf. Because remember, when a budget advisor or somebody speaks on your behalf, they're not actually emotionally involved. So therefore they don't get angry, they don't become aggressive, they don't become any emotional outcome at all. They just say, hey, listen, this is where we are. Let's go for it.
How much do budget advisors cost, and where can people go to find these people?
Budget advisors, under the white pages, which says budget advisors, they will be members of the Federation of Family Budgeting, and they are all free. There are others that offer money management, and yes, they are going to charge you. But most people, if you don't have money to pay your creditors, where are you going to find the money to pay a money manager?
Now, what about these companies, these credit companies that actually say, hey, look, we'll sort out all your debt and we'll put it into one big loan? What's your opinion about that?
Well, the ones we've seen with that, it sounds marvellous. And what they do is they take all your debts, your HPs and whatever you're paying off on a monthly basis, and put it all into one. And then they pay your creditors off and they become your creditor. Now, that sounds good, but there's an interest on that one as well. And sometimes you may score. They may have lesser interest than you perhaps paying on your credit card. Or they may give you a longer term, but there is a cost. And what we normally find now, and it's unfortunate that sometimes we have to advise people, look, we're now in such a position that you are not going to be able to just drip feed it off. Because when you've got lots of creditors, if you don't pay Peter this month, it's only Peter you haven't paid. He's not going to come and grab everything out of the house. But when you've got that one creditor, if you don't pay him, you are in trouble. And we have found people do that. They collect all their debts, they hand it over to those sort of people, and then they go out and make some more debt exactly from the same firms that they've just paid off.
So we need to be really careful about that.
Oh, yes. If you're going to do that, you know that, hey, that big debt, that's everything. I can't go any further.
Well, thanks very much, Peg. That was great information.